Welcome back, everyone, to Secret Surge. Today we're going to be talking about just when things are a little bit rough and maybe when running is hard, when life is hard, how we get through that, when you just feel like life is a bit rough. So we're just going to check in with each other real quick. Yeah, Stevie, do you want to tell us tell everyone how this week has been for you?
Yeah, it's an all right week. I think that this topic was very well timed because I definitely found that I had a hard week this week. Everything just wasn't going well. The workouts weren't going well. Running just felt hard in general. So I think it's going to be a good topic to kind of see what was hard and what I did to fix it. But yeah, it's been a kind of a fatiguing week, and I'm quite happy for today to have the rest of the day to just chill.
I agree.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I've had a rough week as well. I feel like my running automatically becomes more difficult, and it probably does for most people when just other things in life feel difficult or you're not like mentally there, you're just kind of struggling. I started out with, obviously I'm going to work again, so I'm still really transitioning into that full-time job, and that's not necessarily that the work is hard. It's more about my expectations for myself at work. So I tend to overthink a couple things where I'm like, am I doing enough? Like, obviously I'm getting positive feedback from like my managers, but am I doing enough? That thought kind of gnaws away at me sometimes. And then for me with my running, I did my first hurdle session and I didn't feel good. To be fair, I don't feel good on most of my sessions at this point in the year because I feel like I'm just working really hard, and my coach...
It's tough work, yeah.
Yeah, my coach says that that's fine. Like, he's like, you shouldn't be feeling good until we are actually ready to race. I'm like, okay, that's fair. But like, I hurdled and I started having lower back problems, and then now I like haven't been able to sleep very well because my lower back is kind of messed up after the session. So it was like a combination of not very much sleep, anxiety, and yeah, just physically feeling like my quads were messed up. I did, I guess, complete my workouts, but I took away a couple repetitions.
Well, you have to be able to like listen to your body like that because I think one of the things we wanted to talk about was like, how do you know when to back off and when to like just push through? And I think most runners, you kind of just really learn to feel it. And me and my coach will have no problem on a bad day being like, you've gone past the point now, like let's cut these reps.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a hard threshold for me to find sometimes because for a long time I think I didn't work hard enough in my workouts because I got to the point where I was like, okay, this is starting to feel too hard, so then I didn't finish the workout. But then when I got to the race, I didn't know really how to push through the pain at that point. And yet at the same time, I'm pretty a firm believer that most workouts should be like an 8 out of 10 effort. Like, it should not be going into the well, as we call it.
Yeah, I don't think that, like maybe every so often, but like majority definitely not. You don't want to be completely depleted, at this point several times a week, 2-3 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah, so did you and your coach cut your workouts short, or how did those go for you?
So my workouts were it was almost like two halves. Like I'd start off feeling like fine, and then it kind of just all hit all at once. And I actually did finish all of my workouts, but the kind of mindset changed and we kind of reduced the paces. So for Tuesday, I had a whole bunch of 200s, kind of 200 fast, 200 jog, and we'd had kind of 33, 34 seconds down for the 200, which is like fast, but it's pretty manageable usually. Mm-hmm. And I just could not get any quicker than 35. So we're like, we'll just keep it 35, 36, take the recovery properly. Don't go ahead. I had a training partner with me, and she was able to hit the paces that we were set, which meant the gap between us was like, there was
Just
a bit of a gap between us
every time,
so
right?
Yeah. And at first I would like catch up with her in the jog, and then I was like, okay, just let her go because she's doing the paces, I'm not, and then that would interfere with the recovery. So yeah, I just felt generally flat, and then me and my coach decided after that workout to have a complete rest day the next day, to just really recover, and I was lucky I could just stay home and nap and get on with things there. But then I thought that would be the cure, and went to do my workout on Friday, and I went from feeling kind of good, comfortable, it was mile repeats, so a little bit more easy pace, and again I was like, I can't hit the pace, suddenly feel like I'm gonna die.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, obviously with these things, the mental part of it gets to be the worst part after a bit. You know, after one workout or something, it's like, okay, it's fine, I can recover and get back to it. But then if you can't, and then it happens again and again, or maybe for multiple weeks on end, it's hard to want to keep doing it, and then you're like, okay, what am I doing wrong? And I think a lot of times we can't figure out what's wrong. Like, I've tried a lot of times to figure out what's wrong with my body. And sometimes it's just, you can't solve it and you just have to wait. But I don't know what your experience
was.
The
worst part.
Yeah, mentally during this week.
Mine would like started bad, and then I kind of like fought it through and tried to figure out why I'm feeling this way and why it's okay that didn't run well this week. And like for me, I had a really good week actually last week before, and I'd run the fastest I've ever done for this particular workout, which I won't explain because it's just like this one stretch of road that we have.
Yeah.
And the times would mean nothing, but they mean it to me because I've done it so many times. But I was like, that was great, I did amazing. So I was like, I'm in such good shape, ready to race. And then the next week was so contrasting. And in my second workout that didn't really go too well this week, even my coach kind of said it was a bit unusual for me, especially my mindset in it. I've typically been someone that's quite good at mentally pushing through, but I told him that I was mentally pushing. But I was mentally pushing just to keep going, not to speed up. I was mentally pushing to complete this thing.
Yeah.
And I think after kind of reflecting all of it, you kind of mentioned it briefly already that not every workout can be the best you've ever done. And if it is, then you're probably not working hard enough, and it should be race season.
Right.
You should be ready to peak at that point, which is not where we're at. I think one of the other things I reflect on is, I don't know who originally said it, but I think it was Alexi Papayas. And she was like, the rule of thirds, where you should be feeling amazing a third of the time, alright a third, and bad a third of the time, and then you've probably hit enough of the right
I wonder where she got that.
I'm not sure, but I'm sure she got it from somewhere.
Yeah, because I'm not in the rule of thirds at all. Like, I think I'm probably more like, I feel good, at least during track season, like maybe 15% of the time, where I can actually say, like, I feel good. Like, I feel, I guess fresh is a better, like, word to describe it, or like, just things are flowing. Yeah, it's not often for me, and I think it's okay at this point because I'm still able to perform, but I think the hardest part for me also this week was, like, I was doing these hard efforts alone, and I did do one the week before in, like, cold rain. I was getting warm, so I took my rain jacket off, and I don't think it was raining that hard yet, but it was freezing and my arms were numb, and luckily I had Christian pacing me for that, so like I was able to do it, but I felt terrible the whole time, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna look at his back and like try to push through it and stay connected. But yeah, I don't think I've figured out like when to back off. I think that's the part where I know that this past week with what was going on at work, my coach and I talked about it, and it's like, yeah, okay, it's time to like back off a little bit. And I think I just moved my workout a day and then did like a 5 mile day. And for me, it was definitely like something bigger than just a bad day. Like it was an accumulation of a lot of things. And it did help. It did help. And I think launching into this week, I'm going in with the mindset of just like being organized in my training and trying to stay like consistent versus I need to hammer a workout. And actually it's race week for me. So
where are you racing? Because it's also race week for me.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going. I'm going to Stanford. So I'm doing the Stanford steeple.
Stanford.
I'm doing my steeple opener.
I did that one as my opener, I think, last year, the Stanford Invitational.
I know. That's why.
Yeah,
that was why I was like, this is a good one to do, because when I watched your race and I was like, there's plenty of room to move around.
There was.
Like, I don't think it's a super packed race, because last year my steeple opener was Brian Clay and it was awful.
Goodness.
It was like just trying to move around people. I'm like, oh my God, like it, and I basically had to come to a complete stop at the first barrier because someone fell and, something happened. I'm like, oh my goodness.
No, I remember watching that race as well, and I saw you in the race and I was like, I think she just had to completely stop because it was that packed. And I was like, I'm so glad I didn't do that one, because I considered it for sure. But Stanford, it was I think it was one in maybe like 9:50 or something like that, maybe slightly quicker, and I was in third place. That was my first sub 10.
Yeah, see that I'm like trying to live vicariously through you. I want it to be my first sub 10, so it would be amazing. Like, I don't know, we'll see.
But I do remember in that race, like very consciously giving myself a bit of room, and I kind of think that it may have been why I lost the top two girls, because I held back a little bit too much to give myself space. But then at the end of the day, like, it was the first steeple and you kind of need the time to get used to it, and there's plenty of times to like push a little harder. But the space is, if you can have like good space in a race, it makes such a difference in the steeple.
Yes. Yeah, which is also why I like the On Track Fest, which I will be doing, I think, this year again. So, because it's just a good race that's pretty close in LA.
It's like there's a few LA races that work well for both of us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not planning to go onto the track for a bit longer still. I'm going to stick with the roads, and I'm doing Carlsbad 5K.
Well, you are doing Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Now I want to do it. I could double back after my steeple on Friday. Go down on Sunday. No, I can't do that.
That would work.
Bad idea.
Yeah, I'm excited to get down to the beach again, get some warmth. It's been a bit cold here too. But yeah, we're kind of like, you were talking about doing your first steeple kind of workout, and I spoke to... But I think one of my things I've been struggling with this last week, I've been having kind of a negative mindset compared to what you usually have, and it's, I think, being caused by seeing that it's outdoor season now and people are starting to do steeplechase races, and my foot injury just hasn't recovered the way I thought it was, and just the thought of hurdling right now I was like, I know I can't get over a hurdle. So I'm like, oh no, am I running out of time? People have already started steeplechase and I can't even hurdle. I can't even get over a hurdle. That's why for me, I'm like still ignoring the track as much as I can. I'm like, let's do some road races. You can do the flat.
I think that's a fair point, and it made me think of Val Constein last year, because I know that she talked about that she was injured up until like she didn't even know if she was going to do steeple for the trials, and I remember she went to Brian Clay and ran like a 1500, but hadn't done any steeple at all, and Brian Clay is at the like mid to end of April, and she came back on Track Fest, and I think that was actually her opener, which was
Yeah.
maybe like middle of May last year. So it just showed me, I was like, okay, there is time, even when, like you said, you see people getting out there. I felt that way in indoor. I saw a bunch of people running indoor. I was like, ugh, like I'm just sick here. Like I can't do anything. But there is more time, I think, than people realized.
Especially this year with World Champs being in September, kind of the whole schedule has shifted backwards a bit. Like our national champs are in August, which usually it'll be end of June or start of July, that kind of thing. So like I've technically got a whole extra month.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the positive spin on it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny just how like one little thing can really like get in your head, and then that affects the. So I had that thought. I was like, oh, I can't even steeple, and then I go into a session the next day. I'm like, oh, I can't even keep on the pace.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny how like those things kind of spiral, and you really have to kind of sit down, analyze it, think why you're thinking like this, and try to fix it.
Yeah, there's that part where you sit and analyze it, and then there's the other side of it where you just stop and like let it go and move on to the next day. And I think that's the hardest part to figure out. When do you do that? You know, it's like obviously we want to know what went wrong. I'm very much of I write stuff down. I have to write everything down on paper, and I haven't really had a chance to do that this past week, which is probably why I've been more anxious about stuff, because I can usually write down like, okay, this is what I did, this is what I want to change, like, and then usually I can see I didn't get enough sleep. Oh, I haven't had enough to eat today. I only had like an oatmeal before my workout. Like, no wonder I was tired. There are those things. So I do think it's good to get into the habit of maybe trying to do that. I don't know about every day, but once in a while. And then other times it's like, okay, I'm just gonna like pretend today like didn't happen and move on from it.
Yeah, both are completely like appropriate, reasonable responses. You can either like sit down, try and figure it out if that makes you better, but sometimes you just want to forget.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I should have done that option a bit more on Friday, because I felt like I was like simmering in it the whole day, and took a nap, which was good. I took a nap and I was like, oh, thank God I'm not thinking about it. Then I started thinking about it again.
I need to take a nap today.
I need this off my name. I'm thinking of taking one after this, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really bad at napping because my brain is so like I can't get it to shut up. I'm like, be quiet. It's like that's
how I feel as well. Yeah. Usually I'm only able to do it if it's been like a really hard workout, because I actually am exhausted.
Yes.
But yeah, most of the time it's very hard to stop the thoughts.
So many thoughts. And I also thought about this because I thought about other athletes posting workouts like we've said before, and I think a few episodes back I said that I wished professionals would talk more about like their struggles, I guess, because I genuinely wonder. I'm like, okay, does like, I don't know, I guess I'm gonna give the example of like the New Balance girl, the Boston New Balance girls or something, like, do they ever feel like I know the answer is yes, but do they ever feel bad in workouts, and like how often? And you know, like when I look at myself, I'm like, man, like I feel like I feel bad a lot, and I wonder how much other people actually experience that.
I wonder that as well, because you see some of the workouts and like they're running so strongly and it looks like it's effortless to them. I'm like, but surely they're hurting. Surely this does actually hurt them. But like they look so composed.
Yeah. I want to know how often they drop out of workouts too, or like just, don't do it. It's interesting.
And what you were saying with like feeling good, maybe not as much as you think you should. Like, I think runners in general, our perception of what is good feeling is not I feel good, I feel like I could, like, this feels easy. It's like the amount of times I've said to my coach, he's like, how was it? And I was like, good, tough.
Yes.
I And like, that was tough work, but it was good because it's like you just know you've worked hard, and I guess sometimes it is like just like you feel strong when you're doing it, and sometimes you feel like
Yeah, or
I felt like my form was all over the place the other day, and I was like, I don't feel strong.
yeah. Yeah, and it's easy to also spiral into a thought process of like doing way too much. Like for example, like I haven't really been weightlifting as much as I want to, but I'm not going to start weightlifting before my steeplechase. Like that would be stupid. So it's like, am I stretching, rolling, weightlifting, hydrating, like all these things, and then that's when you get like overwhelmed or when I've gotten overwhelmed, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do all these things. So I try to, one of the things that has helped me is I try to pick like 3 really important things that I haven't been doing. And I think 3 is kind of like my limit right now, where I can be like, okay, sleep is probably the most important. Sleep, fueling, and then for me, I do need to do like functional movements because my back is just so like screwed up at this point. Like
steeplechase just wrecks you, honestly. Like that's
Yeah.
why you have to be so tactical with like when you start the season, what races you do, because like it does take a lot out of you, like all the impact.
My coach
yeah, that's
compared
it.
it to a
That's smart.
10K. He's like, the amount of time it takes to recover from a steeple is similar to a 10K on the track. I'm like, that tracks.
That's true, because you wouldn't want to do like a 10k one week and then come back the next week and do another 10k.
Yeah.
People would be like, that's far too much. But honestly, with steeple, it's probably very similar.
Yeah, because of the pounding and the exactly. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
really helped me. I don't know if you had other things that helped you kind of after this week, or if you have things that you're going to try for this week.
I really think you hit the nail on the head there, because I think we do overcomplicate it sometimes, and really we just need to break it down into 3 or 4 things, which like mainly sleep, fueling, and doing the actual training itself, doing the running. And like if you can just focus on those 3, then you'll probably be quite a well-rounded athlete. If you can incorporate the strength stuff, then you'll be a strong athlete as well. But yeah, I don't think we need to think too much about, am I foam rolling every single day? Because yeah, that might help, but if you're like now stressing because you haven't done it every single day, then that's also not a good use of your time, when you could maybe just sleep in bed for 15 more minutes.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. Yeah, I agree. I'm very much not a type A person, which I think is kind of rare in running.
Yes.
At least at the elite level, it's rare to not be a type A person. So I find the more I can simplify it, the better. Yeah, and so I like to write things down a lot as well, and I pick a certain thing each day. So like yesterday, I really went for I was like, okay, your foot's still hurting. What can you do today to make it feel better tomorrow? And that was my priority for the day. I didn't do my regular gym, because I was like, today's gonna be you're gonna do something to help your foot day. And I ended up just kind of like massaging through the leg and doing a few like mobilizations there, and that was in place of like something. It wasn't adding to the list of things I should do.
Yeah.
And then today I'm like, okay, well, you've done a long run, so the rest of the day should kind of be about recovering. Maybe you want to ice your foot at the end of the day, and then you don't think about anything else.
Yeah. You do have to break it down to, I am, well, less type A than I have been in the past years, but I get into the type A modes, and it's really easy for me to overcomplicate things. Another thing I thought of was, I don't remember, I know my coach has said it to me, Christian said it to me, but he's like, you're kind of training hard and not feeling good for a while just to have like a few good moments And that's that's kind of hard
It
to
is true,
grasp,
yeah.
because you're like, I am working so hard for like years. And that's how people think of like Olympians, right? They're like, you're training for 4 years for like this one race. In reality, they're training for a lot of different races over those 4 years. But
Yeah.
it's the same idea. It's like I have been waiting for a breakthrough for a while, and I've had like little ones, but not the one that I'm looking for. And so I'm like, that's what it's about. It's like you're putting in the work to have that one, those few moments where it pays off. And
Yeah, you just have to trust that it will eventually pay off because you're doing the work.
yes, and yeah, going back to, I don't know what Luke was saying. It's like I like winning too. Like, so it's obviously, if you're not, it gets draining if you're not at least making baby steps in the right direction. But you have to take those good moments, where those good workouts, and be like, oh yes, okay, this is the step in the right direction.
Yeah, it definitely takes time. And that just brought up like a real old memory now from when I was like a kid running. And I did like the 1500 a lot, and I finished it. I think I ran a PB or something, or I ran well enough. And my mum's like, "Hey, well done." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks." I wish I would win one day. I was like, I wish I could just win for once.
I definitely said that too as a kid.
Yeah, I think this is very early days, probably like 14 or something. I'm like, man, I like never win. Like, I just want to win.
I know. Now I'm like, if I don't expect to win like anything at this point. I'm like, if I just want to come in. My version of winning is like, yeah, making it to whatever the trials, or if it's not a trials year, then like USA is like, and that's
a win.
That's a
That's
win.
a win.
It's
Yeah,
top.
that is a win.
It's I could choose to
You
go
have
to a really
yeah.
easy race and win if I want to win, or I can choose to try to be like top 30 or top, I guess, 28 in the country. So take your pick.
That's it. Like you don't really win very often when you're at this level because everyone's so good, and typically you're putting yourself in a race to like stretch your abilities and to do well.
Yeah. Well, the winning, my mom used to tell me when I would get mentally just drained, she would tell me, she'd be like, go out and run like a fun run and just win and like feel good about it. I'm like, okay, like it actually does kind of help. Like, even if you don't run super fast, like something about having people around you that are encouraging, that aren't at that level where they're like, yeah, if when you're comparing yourself to the rest of the world, you're in a pretty high position still, like with your athletics, and it's like, then you can share that with other people. So kind of bringing it back to a smaller pond. It's a mental boost. It is. Like,
yeah, definitely.
some people might
And like
say
you
it's a
have
cop out.
to
I'm like,
find things.
yeah.
You have to find things that like get you motivated again and make you feel like ready, and sometimes that's it, doing a fun run, something where there's no pressure on you. Pressure can be a huge impact on like how you actually race. And like, yeah, we got to remember how far we've come as well. Like, some of the workouts that I'm complaining about now, I would have been like ecstatic to run a year or 2 years ago. Some of the races I'm in, I'm like, I didn't come where I wanted to in British Champs, but a few years ago it was my absolute dream to qualify.
Yeah, the perspective shifts, and you have to remember where you started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
progress is not linear.
Yes, progress
You can't
is
just
not linear.
go up and up and up, so
Yeah.
there's always going to be the hard days.
Yeah. I think we're getting into the kind of the bulk of, the running season, and I think it's the last thing I'd want to add is, if it's a hard week, I do think it's important to maybe stay off of like other people's pages or like other people's results, especially if you find yourself comparing yourself to them anyways. That is the time where you should just be like very self-focused, and don't even compare yourself to where you were whatever a month ago or a year ago, like, unless it's going to help you. Like, just focus on
Unless it's positive.
unless it's positive. precisely.
Yes. No, I agree. I think I spoke to one of my teammates when I told them like how I was feeling anxious and frustrated about the steeplechase, and she was like, "This is why I've taken a break off of social media for a little while, because I knew people were doing steeplechase races because I saw it on Instagram. I saw the results and I saw people doing track, and I'm like, oh no."
Yeah.
But yeah, if I'd just not exposed myself to that, then maybe I wouldn't have felt like that.
Yeah, exactly.
If you just stick to your own path.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we'll kind of wrap it up. Are there any other takeaways, Stevie, that you think of for this episode or just this week?
Well, I think like just talking through this as a conversation, we've really hit the main points of like what to do when running is hard, and that is like majority it's your mindset towards it and knowing that it's okay to rest some days. So I think like my key takeaways are to listen to your body and kind of really think about what's best for you, whether it's like pushing through to the end of the workout or whether it's like cutting it down a few reps. And it's going to be so personal to you. We can't tell the audience to take a rest day if you're tired, because that might not be what works. It's like so personal.
Individual. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree. And for our reminder for everyone out there listening, one bad week does not define you. And I'm going to add like one bad month doesn't define you, or honestly, like one bad year doesn't define you either. Like
Yeah, it's true.
You can always bounce back. So I would just encourage people to try to think about like resiliency, rest and then be resilient after that. And if things come together, they do, and if they don't, then at least like we've said in multiple other episodes, at least you gave it your best shot, and that's all you can do.
I've actually really enjoyed having this conversation, because a lot of these thoughts I would have just kept in my head, not really discussed, not really thought further, or realised that someone else might be feeling the same way as me. So sometimes just like talking to someone else that like will get it can be helpful too.
If we didn't have a podcast and I was there, I would just be like, "Do you want to get coffee?" And then probably talk about that.
Yeah, runners, we love to talk about running.
Yeah.
That's why we've got a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, I've always said that like after a race, some people just want to be left alone. I don't want to talk about it. But my God, I could talk for days about like a race and why it didn't go well and
good, me too.
Just because it makes me feel better to think it through out loud.
Yes. Well, then
not everyone wants to do that, so you have to figure out who wants to listen to you complain a little.
I think I'm just gonna complain to you on this podcast.
That's perfect. That works perfect for me.
Thank you guys for listening. Please let us know again in comments or anywhere else. If you've had a rough week, you're not alone. And we will come back next week with, I don't know if we have another guest lined up, but if you have any suggestions for people, let us know as well.
Yeah, thank you. And hope everyone's week is better next week.
Yes, to a better week next week.
To a better week.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.